The world reflects not what you wish, but what you assume to be true. You are not at the mercy of circumstances, you are the creator of them. Every moment, every experience is drawn to you according to the state of being you occupy. If you accept that the external world dictates your emotions, then you are at its mercy. But if you choose to act as if nothing disturbs you, you take command. When you refuse to react to discord, you deny it power. You strip it of its hold over you. The moment you act as if you are unshaken, the world begins to conform to that certainty. Your state of being is the mold from which your reality is cast. If you accept the role of one who is bothered, then life will supply endless reasons to feel that way. But if you step into the identity of one who is calm, untouched by fleeting conditions, then peace becomes your nature, and life must arrange itself to match. It is not arrogance, nor is it indifference. It is mastery. To stand firm in the face of opposition, to smile at seeming misfortune, is to declare to the unseen forces of the world that you are greater than any fleeting challenge. The moment you act as if nothing bothers you, you shift the unseen, and soon reality will follow. The world you experience is nothing more than a reflection of your inner assumptions. Everything you see, everything you touch, and everything that enters your awareness is shaped by the thoughts and beliefs you persistently hold. It is not your fleeting desires that mold reality, but the deep-seated convictions you carry within. Many people believe that if they want something badly enough, if they hope and pray with intensity, their desires will come to pass. But desire alone is not enough. What you assume to be true is what truly manifests in your life. Consider for a moment how the mind operates. If you constantly dwell on the idea that life is difficult, that you are at the mercy of unpredictable events, then your world will conform to that assumption. Situations will arise to reinforce this belief. People will behave in ways that validate your fears, and circumstances will unfold that seem to prove you right. But the moment you shift your assumption, even if nothing externally has changed, your experience begins to transform. When you start to assume that life is working in your favor, that challenges are temporary illusions, and that you are always in a state of calm control, then the world around you must rearrange itself accordingly. This is not mere wishful thinking. It is a fundamental law of consciousness. Every individual lives in a world of their own assumptions, and the outer world is simply the solidified reflection of their inner state. Look around at your life. Every experience, every person you encounter, and every situation you find yourself in is the result of past assumptions that have taken form. Some people seem to move effortlessly through life, untouched by difficulties, while others struggle at every turn. The difference is not in their external circumstances, but in the assumptions they hold. To assume is to accept something as true without question. It is not about hoping or wishing, but about stepping into the certainty that what you believe already exists. A person who assumes wealth does not merely wish for it. They live as though they already have it. They do not doubt or second guess. They act and think from the state of already possessing what they desire. In the same way, if you assume that nothing bothers you, then no event, no person, and no situation will have power over your peace of mind. You will move through life with a quiet assurance, unshaken by appearances, because you are living from a state of inner mastery. Think of a time when you were faced with a challenging situation. Perhaps it was an argument, an unexpected setback, or a disappointment that seemed to weigh heavily on your heart. Now, consider how you reacted. Did you allow yourself to be consumed by worry, frustration, or doubt? Or did you stand firm in the belief that everything would work out in your favor? If you look back, you will realize that your assumption at that moment determined how events unfolded. When you believed that something was insurmountable, it became so. But when you assumed that you were in control, that no setback could truly harm you, solutions seemed to appear effortlessly. The power of assumption is not limited to minor inconveniences or fleeting emotions. It governs every aspect of life. It is the force that determines relationships, financial circumstances, health, and even the way others perceive you. If you assume that people will respect and appreciate you, they will. If you assume that opportunities are always available, they will present themselves. And if you assume that nothing has the power to disturb your peace, life will reflect that belief. Many people resist this idea because they believe the world exists outside of them, independent of their thoughts. They see circumstances as fixed. Reality is something to be endured rather than shaped. But the truth is that your consciousness is the only reality. Everything you experience is drawn to you by the state of being you occupy. If you assume struggle, struggle will persist. If you assume ease, ease will follow. It is that simple. There is great freedom in this realization because it means that nothing outside of you has power unless you grant it. No person, no event, no misfortune can disturb your peace unless you assume that it can. The moment you take control of your assumptions, you take control of your life. You no longer react to the world reacts to you. This is the key to personal mastery, the ability to remain calm, certain, and unshaken no matter what appears before you. It is important to understand that assumptions are not created through mere repetition of words, but through deep conviction. You cannot simply say, "Nothing bothers me," and expect instant results if, internally, you still believe otherwise. Assumptions must be felt as real, they must be lived. When you assume something, you do not question it, you do not doubt it, and you do not look for external validation. You move with certainty, knowing that what you have assumed must be made manifest. This principle has been demonstrated time and again by those who have mastered their inner world. The great minds, the pioneers, the individuals who seem to shape history, they all share this secret. They act from their assumptions, not from the appearances of the world. They do not react to circumstances, they dictate them. They carry within them an unshakable certainty that nothing can disturb their course, and because of this, nothing does. If you wish to embody this power, you must first observe your current assumptions. Pay attention to how you react to life. Do you assume difficulty at every turn? Do you expect things to go wrong? Or do you assume that all is well, that everything is working in your favor, and that you are always in control? Your assumptions are shaping your reality in every moment, whether you are conscious of them or not. The simplest way to shift an assumption is to act as if it is already true. If you want to be unaffected by circumstances, begin acting as if you already are. When something arises that would normally disturb you, pause. Instead of reacting, remind yourself that you are the creator of your experience. Assume in that moment that you are calm, that you are above the situation, that nothing can truly affect you unless you allow it. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Soon you will no longer need to remind yourself, it will simply be who you are. It does not matter how chaotic the world may seem. It does not matter what others say or do. Your assumption is the only thing that determines your experience. If you assume that nothing bothers you, then nothing can. The world must conform to the inner state you persistently occupy. When you hold firm to this truth, life becomes effortless. Challenges dissolve, obstacles fade, and you walk through the world with the quiet confidence of one who knows that reality bends to their will. The world constantly presents challenges, distractions, and unexpected events that seek to pull you into reaction. From the smallest inconveniences to life-altering setbacks, it is easy to feel as though you are at the mercy of external circumstances. But this is an illusion. The truth is that your inner state determines how the world responds to you, not the other way around. When you learn to remain unmoved by appearances, you step into mastery. You stop being swayed by what seems to be happening and instead dictate what must happen through your unwavering inner conviction. Most people live reactively. They allow their emotions to be dictated by what they see, hear, or experience in the moment. If something pleasing happens, they feel joy. If something undesirable arises, they feel frustration, fear, or sadness. But this way of living keeps them in a cycle of unpredictability, always at the mercy of what the world presents to them. The key to true power is learning to remain unaffected, regardless of what appears before you. This is not about ignoring reality, but about understanding that reality itself is fluid, shaped by your inner state. Consider a time when you received bad news. Perhaps it was an unexpected financial loss, a betrayal, or a situation that seemed beyond your control. The immediate reaction for most people is panic or despair. But what if, instead of reacting, you remained completely still inside? What if you acknowledged the situation, but refused to let it disturb your inner peace? At first, this may seem unnatural, even impossible. But this is the very shift that transforms lives. When you refuse to be shaken by appearances, those appearances lose their power over you. It is important to understand that the world is a mirror. It does not act independently. It reflects your state of being. When you react with worry, fear, or frustration, you reinforce those very conditions. You signal to the unseen forces that these events have control over you, and so they persist. But the moment you remain unmoved, something remarkable happens. The situation begins to shift. Events rearrange themselves. Solutions appear where there seemed to be none. This is because you are no longer feeding the unwanted condition with your energy and attention. People often believe they must fight against challenges, resist negativity, or actively push back against what they do not want. But resistance only strengthens what is resisted. When you resist an unpleasant situation, you focus on it, energize it, and give it life. The more you fight, the more it persists. The true power lies in neutrality, remaining still, unaffected, and internally knowing that what does not serve you will dissolve on its own. Imagine a storm raging outside. The wind howls, the rain pours, and everything around is in chaos. But inside, you are sitting in complete stillness. You watch the storm, but you do not fear it. You know it will pass, just as all storms do. This is how you must approach life's challenges. Instead of engaging with them, remain the silent observer. Acknowledge them, but do not become entangled in them. Know that they have no real power unless you grant it to them. This does not mean suppressing your emotions or pretending to be unaffected while still feeling disturbed inside. True mastery comes when you no longer need to pretend because you genuinely feel unmoved. The way to develop this is through practice. Every time life presents a challenge, see it as an opportunity to remain steady. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes. Soon, nothing can shake you, not because you are forcing yourself to be strong, but because you have become someone who is unshakable. Some may argue that this approach is unrealistic, that there are situations where one must react. But those who have truly mastered this understanding know otherwise. It is not about ignoring reality, but about redefining what reality is. Reality is not fixed. It bends to your assumption of it. When you remain calm, when you refuse to be disturbed, reality must reorganize itself to match your inner state. You may have noticed that certain people always seem to have everything work out for them. Even when faced with setbacks, they somehow emerge unscathed, often in a better position than before. This is not luck. It is the result of their inner stability. They do not allow temporary appearances to dictate their state of being. Because of this, life molds itself to support them. Likewise, there are those who always seem to struggle. No matter what happens, they find a reason to be upset, to worry, or to feel defeated. This is not because life is unfair to them, but because they have conditioned themselves to react negatively. Their reactions feed into their circumstances, perpetuating a cycle of difficulty. The difference between these two types of people is not external circumstances, but internal responses. The one who remains calm, who refuses to be disturbed, becomes the master of their reality. The one who reacts emotionally to every challenge becomes a slave to appearances. You must decide which one you will be. If you choose mastery, you must begin to train yourself to remain unmoved. This does not mean suppressing emotions or denying your experiences. It means recognizing that emotions are fleeting, that situations are temporary, and that you hold the power to dictate how you experience life. One of the simplest ways to practice this is through small moments in daily life. When something minor goes wrong, perhaps someone cuts you off in traffic, you receive an unexpected bill, or a conversation does not go as planned, pause. Instead of reacting, take a breath. Remind yourself that you are in control of your state. Decide in that moment that nothing has the power to disturb you. Observe how the situation unfolds when you do not react. You will begin to notice a pattern. When you remain still, external conditions resolve themselves in ways you could not have predicted. The problem that seemed so urgent fades away. The person who was unkind suddenly changes their attitude. The financial worry resolves itself effortlessly. This is because you are no longer resisting life. You are allowing it to rearrange itself according to your assumption of peace. As you develop this ability, you will notice a profound shift in your life. Situations that once would have caused stress no longer affect you. You move through life with an effortless grace, untouched by the chaos that seems to consume others. This is not because you are avoiding life's challenges, but because you have risen above them. When you refuse to react, you send a powerful message to the universe that you are the one in control, that you do not waver in the face of appearances, that you trust in the deeper order of things. And because reality reflects your assumptions, the world must align itself with this belief. There is no greater power than the ability to remain unmoved in the face of seeming adversity. It is the mark of true mastery, the key to effortless living, and the secret to transforming your world. The moment you decide that nothing has the power to disturb you, life will begin to reflect that truth. What once seemed like problems will dissolve. What once triggered anxiety will no longer hold any weight. You will no longer chase peace. It will become who you are. The act of denying power to discord is a profound concept, one that requires both awareness and mastery. At its core, this principle is about choosing not to engage with negative circumstances, emotions, or thoughts that do not serve you. It is about recognizing that what you resist persists, and by giving energy to something unwanted, you only strengthen its grip on your life. Instead of reacting, you make a conscious choice to withhold your energy and attention from things that disturb your peace. In doing so, you strip these disturbances of their power, and in turn, they lose their hold over you. Every day, the world presents a multitude of challenges, from minor annoyances to significant obstacles. Some days it can feel as though everything is working against you. People may say or do things that upset you, unforeseen circumstances may derail your plans, and negative thoughts may seem to flood your mind. The natural response for many is to react. You might feel frustration, anger, or anxiety. You might try to change the situation, control others, or force things to go your way. But the problem with this approach is that in resisting, you only strengthen the energy of that which you are trying to avoid. It is a paradox. The more you try to push something away, the more you make it real. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. Think about a time when you encountered an unexpected problem or a person who irritated you. Your first instinct might have been to push against it, to resist the situation, to react emotionally or mentally. Yet what often happens in these moments is that the resistance only fuels the situation. The more you resist, the more entrenched you become in negativity, and the more the situation intensifies. This is where the idea of denying power to discord becomes essential. Instead of resisting, you must choose to stop feeding the energy of the problem, and in doing so, you take away its power. One of the simplest ways to start practicing this is by observing your reactions. When something challenging arises, pause before reacting. Instead of immediately giving in to frustration or worry, take a breath. Acknowledge that this situation, like all others, is temporary, and that your reaction to it is what determines how long it will affect you. In the moment you choose not to react, you disempower the situation. You refuse to give it the energy it seeks. When you withhold your energy from it, the situation loses momentum and begins to dissipate. The key here is not to deny the reality of the situation. This is not about pretending that problems do not exist or that difficult circumstances are not real. Rather, it is about recognizing that the power of a situation comes not from the external event itself, but from your inner response to it. If you respond with anger, fear, or frustration, you give the situation energy, and it continues to exist in your experience. But if you respond with calmness, neutrality, or detachment, you deny it the energy it needs to continue. By learning to refuse to engage with discord, you create space for peace and clarity to enter. Every time you refuse to react, you are teaching yourself that your inner world is more important than external circumstances. You are teaching yourself that your emotional state is a choice, not something dictated by the world around you. This shift in perspective is incredibly powerful. It allows you to move through life with a sense of inner strength and serenity, unaffected by the turbulence that may surround you. It is also important to understand that denying power to discord does not mean suppressing your emotions or pretending that you are unaffected when you are not. Emotions are a natural part of being human, and it is essential to acknowledge them. However, the difference lies in how you respond. You can feel frustration without allowing it to control you. You can experience anger without letting it dictate your actions or thoughts. The key is to allow yourself to feel, but then to move through those emotions without becoming attached to them. This is where true emotional mastery comes into play. Most people believe that their emotions are reactions to external events and that they have no control over them. But in reality, emotions are signals that can be managed. When you choose not to give power to negative emotions, you stop being at the mercy of them. You begin to see that emotions are fleeting and that they do not define you. Just as a storm passes, so too do negative emotions. When you learn to deny them the power to control your thoughts, actions, and reactions, you start to experience life on a much deeper, more conscious level. The practice of denying power to discord also extends to the people and situations in your life. It is easy to get caught up in other people's drama or peace. Additionally, acting as if nothing bothers you fosters a deep sense of self-trust. When you are not easily shaken by external circumstances, you develop confidence in your ability to navigate whatever comes your way. This trust in yourself is empowering as it reinforces the belief that you are capable, strong, and resilient. You begin to see that no matter what happens, you have the tools and the inner strength to handle it. This self-trust creates a sense of security that is not dependent on external validation or circumstances, but on your own inner foundation. This practice also opens the door to deeper personal growth. When you refuse to let external events disturb you, you give yourself the space to reflect, to learn, and to evolve. You no longer react from a place of fear or frustration, but from a place of awareness and clarity. You begin to see challenges as opportunities for personal growth and transformation. You understand that every difficulty carries within it the seed of wisdom, and that by staying calm, you can learn from every experience, no matter how challenging. In summary, the practice of acting as if nothing bothers you is a transformative process that leads to greater emotional freedom, peace, and mastery over your life. By choosing not to react to external circumstances, you reclaim your power and create a life that is shaped not by the world around you, but by your own inner state. This practice allows you to navigate life with greater ease, resilience, and confidence, knowing that you are in control of how you experience every situation. The concept of living from a place of inner peace, untouched by the external world, is one of the most empowering shifts you can make in life. It allows you to experience true freedom, freedom from the endless cycle of reactions, from the pressure to control everything around you, and from the emotional turmoil that often accompanies life's challenges. By mastering the art of remaining unaffected by external disturbances, you step into a profound understanding of your own power. This power comes from within, from your ability to choose how you perceive and respond to the world. It is this inner mastery that allows you to navigate even the most difficult situations with grace, confidence, and unwavering calm. When you live from a place where nothing bothers you, you are no longer at the mercy of the world. It means you have realized that your external reality is not the cause of your happiness or peace. Your inner state is your own creation, and you hold the power to decide what enters and exits your emotional and mental world. This realization is liberating because it places you firmly in control of your experience, regardless of the chaos or turbulence happening outside of you. Living from inner peace involves adopting the mindset that everything happening in your life is a reflection of your inner state. While external circumstances may trigger certain emotions or reactions, they are never the true cause of your inner turmoil. The cause always lies in how you interpret those circumstances. For example, when faced with an unexpected challenge, many people's first reaction is to feel fear, anger, or frustration. They allow the situation to dictate their emotional response, believing that the event is what caused their distress. However, the truth is that it is not the situation itself, but the meaning you give it that determines your emotional state. When you live from a place of inner peace, you are aware of this distinction. You understand that your reaction to any given situation is a choice, and you begin to cultivate the ability to choose peace, no matter the external circumstances. This does not mean that you ignore challenges or deny your feelings. Rather, it means that you choose to meet those challenges with a calm and centered mindset, refusing to allow the situation to disrupt your inner harmony. The shift in mindset requires practice and commitment. It's easy to react emotionally when faced with unexpected difficulties or frustrations. However, each time you choose not to react, you are strengthening your ability to remain unaffected. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to remain calm in the face of adversity. Over time, you will begin to notice that your life flows with greater ease. Situations that once would have caused you stress or anxiety no longer have the same power over you. This shift is not about avoiding emotions, but about learning to navigate them with awareness and detachment. You learn to acknowledge your feelings without allowing them to control you. One of the most powerful aspects of this practice is the realization that you are the creator of your emotional world. No one and nothing can make you feel a certain way unless you allow it. This can be an uncomfortable truth for many, especially when it comes to difficult relationships or situations that seem unfair. However, once you truly understand that your emotional responses are within your control, you begin to take responsibility for your feelings. You no longer see yourself as a passive victim of your circumstances, but as an active participant in shaping your emotional experience. The more you practice living from inner peace, the more you begin to see the world through a different lens. Challenges become opportunities for growth, obstacles become lessons, and you begin to develop a deep sense of trust in your ability to handle whatever life throws your way. When you choose not to engage with negative emotions or external disturbances, you make space for clarity and wisdom to emerge. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond from a place of awareness and calm, knowing that you are in control of how you experience every situation. Another key aspect of living from inner peace is the ability to cultivate gratitude, even in difficult times. When life presents challenges, it's easy to focus on what's wrong, what's missing, or what's going wrong. However, when you choose to live from a place of inner peace, you shift your focus toward what is going right, what you are grateful for, and what you have learned from the experience. Gratitude is a powerful tool that can shift your perspective and raise your vibration. It helps you focus on the present moment and reminds you of the abundance and beauty that already exists in your life. Gratitude allows you to anchor yourself in the present moment, which is crucial when you're facing challenging situations. Instead of getting lost in worry about the future or regret about the past, you bring your attention to the here and now. This practice of mindfulness helps you remain grounded and connected to your inner peace. When you are truly present, you are less likely to be swept away by the emotions and reactions that arise from external events. Instead, you respond from a place of clarity, allowing you to make more conscious decisions and take actions that are aligned with your highest goal. Living from inner peace also allows you to cultivate a sense of detachment from outcomes. Many people live in a constant state of anxiety or stress because they are attached to specific outcomes or expectations. They believe that if things don't go the way they want, they will be unhappy or unsuccessful. However, when you live from a place of inner peace, you let go of the need for things to be a certain way. You trust that everything is unfolding as it should, and that even when things don't go as planned, there is always something valuable to be learned from the experience. Detachment from outcomes doesn't mean that you stop caring or stop taking action. It means that you trust the process and know that the journey is just as important as the destination. This detachment also extends to people and situations. When you live from inner peace, you no longer seek validation from others or allow their opinions to dictate your sense of self-worth. You understand that your value comes from within, and you are no longer dependent on external approval or praise. You also let go of the need to control or change other people. You recognize that everyone is on their own journey, and you can only control your own thoughts, actions, and responses. This sense of detachment allows you to maintain healthy boundaries and relationships without being swayed by others' behaviors or opinions. Living from inner peace also requires self-compassion. It means treating yourself with kindness, understanding, and patience. You recognize that you are human and that you are not perfect. When you make mistakes or face challenges, you do not beat yourself up or fall into self-criticism. Instead, you embrace your imperfections and learn from your experiences. Self-compassion allows you to stay centered and grounded, even when things are difficult. It helps you to maintain a loving and nurturing relationship with yourself, which is the foundation for living a life of peace and balance. Finally, living from inner peace opens the door to a deeper connection with your higher self and the universe. When you release the need to control everything around you and let go of the constant need for validation and approval, you create space for divine guidance and inspiration to flow into your life. You begin to trust in the flow of life and know that you are always supported, even in the most challenging times. This connection to your higher self and the universe allows you to live with greater purpose and clarity, knowing that you are always on the right path. In essence, living from a place of inner peace is about reclaiming your personal power. It is about choosing to remain grounded, centered, and peaceful no matter what life throws your way. When you choose to live from inner peace, you create a life that is truly your own, a life that is not dictated by the external world, but by the inner strength and wisdom that resides within you. This state of inner peace is not just a fleeting emotion or a temporary state. It becomes a way of being, a way of living, and a way of experiencing the world. By living from this place, you unlock the door to greater happiness, fulfillment, and success in all areas of your life.